Hi everyone, my name is Temiloluwa Dosumu and I'm your host today. I'm the head of telecoms, media and technology at Famsville, and we're here to talk about something really interesting. Well, I'm not doing this alone. I'm here with, I call him Crypto King, and his name is Toyosi Abolarin. I think I'll allow him to introduce himself to you.
My name is Toyosi Abolarin. I'm the CEO of YOLAT. YOLAT is a crypto platform where you can exchange your local currency like the Naira for Bitcoin, USDT, etc., or exchange Bitcoin for local currency.
And there you had it right there. So we're talking about global insights on cryptocurrency and other virtual assets. Now, I think we should just take it right from the ground and then we fly. Right. Can you explain? I mean, I know you've done a lot of work in cryptocurrency, but I mean, I believe in being able to simplify, being able to explain, right? And that's part of stakeholder education, right? Get as many people on board as you can when you're able to dispense the knowledge in a very simple way that they can take it. Can you explain, what's cryptocurrency all about? I mean, what will you refer to as digital assets and virtual assets? I'm sure, our listeners and viewers, they want to hear from you as an expert, right?
Yeah. So the truth is, I think everyone on this call and even everyone in this room, we've heard of the term cryptocurrency before. And one of the reasons why the industry is still, I don't say it's mainstream yet, it's not super there yet, is because of the conception about understanding it. It's still very technical. The user experience is still not there yet.
Yeah.
That is, the builders in the space still very hard. That is one, fundamental. But I try to explain to people this way, with use cases. So how did I get involved with the industry?
You want to share that with us?
Yeah,
please
sure.
I'm in for that.
So in 2016, my very first startup, because I've been in startups all my life.
Wow.
My very first startup actually was in 2015. It was Ask an Expert. So I was building a chat app where you can chat with doctors, lawyers. So what CIPP is today, that was what we were trying to do in 2015.
It started before ChatGPT.
But we failed. But we failed. But with very good learnings. I didn't call it failure. It's actually was a very good learning experience for me, because I learned that sometimes it's a good idea but very bad timing. So that was Ask an Expert. So we didn't have developers. Now developers were in India. One of the first use cases, which is one of the biggest use cases for cryptocurrencies today, was remittance. So one day, one of the developers was just saying that, we needed to pay him. Jonathan was president then, good luck Jonathan, and there was restrictions around sourcing for FX to pay developers. So it was just like, why don't you send us Bitcoin? I was like, what is Bitcoin? So I went on my laptop and I started watching. I went on YouTube, what is Bitcoin? I started seeing so many videos, and I started at 10 p.m. I didn't sleep till like 5 a.m.
Wow.
Because I was just like, this is it. Like I've made it. I've blown with just understanding of this technology, what it does, what it's supposed to do. So I bought my first Bitcoin then.
As far as 2015?
No, 2016 actually. I started the project 2015, but 2016 was when I first bought. I was about $250 for one Bitcoin then.
Very cheap then.
Yeah, very cheap. 250. So we bought, and we bought from what we call an exchange. And the first exchange was called Luno. That was the most popular. So Luno is probably still the biggest in Africa. So Luno. So I'm mentioning the term small. So you can start getting it. So an exchange, which is a platform where you can change your local currency for digital assets like Bitcoin. So I bought, and again the first use case was I bought an asset that the person on the other side classified it as money, and I also saw it as money. I bought it, I sent it to him, and instantly got it. I was like,
What country was that?
India.
Can you imagine?
So that way I was able to, I don't know if this is English, but circumvent, the traditional black market, traditional regulatory framework of CBN, of sourcing for FX. And I converted Naira to an asset that the other person on the other end classified as money, and I sent it to him.
Interesting.
And immediately I was like, man, I have to stop this Ask an Expert and build this thing as a product, And that was when I now joined Venture Garden Group. Venture Garden Group is VGG. It's a licensed IMTO, and I told them, I want to come and do remittance here. I told them on the dream of Bitcoin for remittance, blah blah blah. But they were like, no, we're a regulated entity. We can't be touching Bitcoin. Bitcoin is for scam, blah blah blah. So now, what is cryptocurrencies?
Okay.
I would say cryptocurrencies are a new asset class.
Okay.
Because what are asset classes? We have equities, we have stocks, we have shares. But these cryptocurrencies, they allow softwares to work. And those softwares are called decentralized apps. I'll break everything down so it doesn't.
We are in for it.
So today we have apps like WhatsApp.
Yeah.
WhatsApp is controlled by Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg. They make. Now imagine that there is an app that is not controlled by Mark Zuckerberg or WhatsApp.
Wow.
That is, the development, the functionalities is controlled by anyone. But what powers that software to work is what we call this cryptocurrency. Because it is the currency for that app. It is the currency that you guys use to vote for new features. It's the currency that you guys use to vote for new development.
Mm-hmm.
And as the app is getting more user base, same traditionally, once WhatsApp starts getting more new users, what happens? Valuation of WhatsApp starts increasing, start getting bigger. See cryptocurrencies they are currencies that allows these decentralized apps to work. These decentralized apps, they are not apps that are controlled by one single person. They are controlled by anyone. But your way into that system is the cryptocurrency. So that cryptocurrency, you use it for you acquire, maybe you mine it. Some there are different methods. Some they stake it. Some they already produce it and give it to everybody that is interested in the network. It starts getting value the more people come into the system. So in 2016, when I bought my first Bitcoin, it was $250. Today it's $41,000. It means more people have seen more use cases. There's more adoption. There's more acceptance, which is driving the price. However, Bitcoin is just one. There are several cryptocurrencies, and all of them power different softwares. Again, let me try to summarize what I've said. So, cryptocurrencies, they power softwares. They allow softwares to work. But the softwares that they allow to work, they are the softwares, that's what they call them, decentralized. They are softwares that are not controlled by one single entity. So think of Ethereum now, it's a software for smart contracts. The CEO of Ethereum, Vitalik Buterin, he does not have full power to control everything. There has to be a voting system. There has to be fees that are being paid, and everything is through that software, through that currency, that cryptocurrency called Ether. So the Ethereum is the software. The currency is called Ether. Bitcoin is the software. We call it Bitcoin is the software. Bitcoin is also the currency for Bitcoin. There are some people, Solana is the software. Sol, S-O-L, is the currency. So there are so many different currencies, different use cases, but the fundamental thing you should realize is decentralization. That is, it is not meant to be controlled by one person. It's meant to be controlled by so many people. There are currencies that would power that ecosystem, and those currencies are what we call cryptocurrencies. But people now trade with it. I say, okay, I believe that this company, this software is going to do it. There's a new use case for it, for maybe land acquisition, for storage on the cloud, for property registration. I believe in this software. Let me go and buy the currency that is powering the ecosystem. And then, that people start trading on it. People start trading on it on exchanges where they can use their naira. So imagine the stock market trading on MTN shares, but MTN is controlled by MTN Group. Yeah. But this time, this software is not controlled by anyone, or ideally, it is not meant. So when I'm probably going to the technicalities of how these things work, you find out that a lot of them are actually scam. A lot.
That brings you to my next question.
Okay.
So let me just, because I know you have a lot to say, so I'll just ask us to take it one step after the other. Now, quite a number of individuals, in Nigeria, particularly those you find in government, decision makers, and most of the key players or decision makers in the traditional financial system, there's still that negative perception they have, about cryptocurrency. Oh, it's a scam. And once it comes to intangible assets, the next, because of the proliferation of internet fraud in our society, once someone comes to you and they're talking about an asset that is not tangible, that you can't see, they tend to easily brand it as scam fraud and just write it off. Now, from your experience, because it's all about onboarding more users and ensuring that adoption hits a very high rate. So how do you want to sell, from your experience, how do you tend to sell cryptocurrency to that class of people who are still, and it's global. You still have lots of big players, billionaires and folks who are saying, I'm never going to put my money in crypto, except for maybe people like Elon Musk anyway, and we'll still come to that. So how would you change that narrative from your perspective as
okay. So the truth is, I don't think one person can change the narrative of perception of a group of people. In fact, the CEO of JP Morgan, I've forgotten his name. The CEO of JP Morgan, I still believe that the industry is full of scam. That it's scam, and I'll tell you why. The only fully, when I was talking, I said the software has to be decentralized. The only fully decentralized digital asset in the world is Bitcoin. And why is it fully decentralized? It's the only software that the creator or the creators, no one knows them. They created the software and they walked away and said, anyone that wants to innovate with this technology, just go and do your thing, and that is why today you cannot shut down Bitcoin, because right from this room we can mine Bitcoin using our laptop, using electricity. We can mine. So if you shut down one node, you can shut this one down. But every other software, you can pinpoint someone to say, oh, Ethereum, the CEO is Vitalik Buterin, let us attack him. Some of them are still hosted on Amazon web servers. Tell Amazon to shut down their server. Today you cannot shut that down. But in the issue of scam, I tell people, for everything that there's a fake, there is an original. For every fake pastor, there's an original pastor. It is, and this is why I'm happy that this year the best news for me in the industry is that the SEC says, okay, it is fine for you to invest in this asset. That's the US. In Europe, there are regulations that has been coming out locally. In Asia, in China, China is the only one that will always say no. They will always say no because they don't want anything they can't control. But how do you control that perception? One is there has to be a lot of education. For
that's
people,
why we're having this.
Yes, for education for people who are getting in to know that it is not a get rich quick scheme. So projects that will come and tell you, oh, if you just give us $500, we'll give you 30% in 7 days. Without no actual, because again, people still don't understand that it's an actual software you are investing in. People don't understand that the underlying technology is the beauty here, which is the blockchain technology that allows transactions to be immutable. That you cannot hack them.
Records,
So, and they call it blockchain because the transactions are arranged in blocks, and connected via a chain.
Wow.
So if one transaction comes in now, another one goes on top, another one goes on top, another goes on top. You cannot come and remove this one here because it means that you have to scatter everything. And that's why they say, okay, Bitcoin can be used for payment because there's a distributed ledger of everything that's happening. I can type in an address, I can say, okay, this money. You cannot remove one transaction. That's why, okay, any software any place that needs transparency, accountability, like voting, there are use cases where you can use blockchain technology for voting. You can use blockchain technology for identity verification. Because there are records that you cannot tamper with. Because once you break one, you have to shut down the entire system. So if people understand that, okay, I'm investing in a technology, where is this technology applicable to? Is it in ID? Who is the team behind it? What are they supposed to be doing? Do they have the technical capacity to execute what they are raising money for? Because most of the time, these people raise money for. They tell you our currency, which again is the cryptocurrency, our currency will become valuable once we launch this product into the market. So come and invest in us now. We will give you some of this cryptocurrency early because you're an early investor in our project.
That's true.
But the thing is, people just raise money and not do anything. Some people just come up with bamboozle story. You are the next Bitcoin. If you buy, we are 0.01 now. It's going to be $25,000 in the next 10 years. And some naive investors be like, especially in Nigeria, where, we like get rich quick things like MMM and stuff like that. So you don't understand what you're getting into. And I don't think this will stop anytime soon. I don't think it can ever stop. So far, we still have that human nature of greed. Yeah, so far we still have that human nature of greed. So far we still have that laziness to really know what I'm getting in. Because the fundamental, there's a rule in investment. Don't invest in anything you don't understand. But people, I don't want to understand. Are you saying if I give 500, you give me 2,000 in 7 days? The thing is, some people might think it's scam, but you see, MC try it. Tell me, I'll not put a lot. Let me just put that $500. What will not happen is that $500 will not become 2K in that 7 days. They say, okay, now I can put $10,000. They not put $10,000. We just go to www.waleadenuga.com. The website has gone. Scam. Crypto is a scam. And that is one. The other thing also is human beings. There are ways. There are ways to. I still tell people this. Cash is also used for scam. People use cash, normal cash,
fake notes.
People also still do fraud with normal cash, fake alerts and stuff. The same thing applies to cryptocurrencies, blockchain, etc. It's just that it is harder. It's harder because it's not that it's harder. You can always track anyone. You can always track anyone today to know to know where the money has gone through. You can track. But it's just that it's harder, and because it's new technology, some people think that if I send money to you, it's easier for me to get police to get you if you are going to GTB. If I've sent to your GTB account, or if I send to your wallet address, this person can be a ghost. So I don't think the problem can be totally solved. I think this is where lawyers and the entire regulatory system, there has to be policies around how people are issuing tokens, people are selling their cryptocurrency, how investors get into this Investor Protection Act, things like that. Like the SEC for like 2-3 years now, they've been going after companies. That's the US SEC, SEC in US. They've been going after companies that are issuing tokens, cryptocurrencies as securities. They went after Ripple. Ripple won the case, but there are some they've gone after. That they are in jail now. Etc.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I'm sure our viewers, some of them are changing their negative, perceptions. I mean, just listening to you. So where that takes us to now is, we saw what happened during the NSAS when the government shut down traditional models of payments, and youths, young people agitating for the future of Nigeria started raising money with crypto, and there was a ripple effect. I mean, they raised so much money, and people who didn't even know about cryptocurrency at the time, like, oh, so I can actually send money without using cash or my bank account. So it crossed. I mean, there was even a court action and all of that, for which government lost. But still, the Nigerian regulators, were very, very negative, about cryptocurrency. I mean, CBN on one hand, was a no-no, while for SEC, as Nigerian SEC, there was still that positive attitude to cryptocurrency. Opportunity on one side. Nigeria is one of the top destinations for crypto, alongside maybe countries like South Africa, for example. And now we're having regulations that sort of embrace cryptocurrency, but with some regulations in place, new restrictions around licensing, for example. If you want to be an exchange, if you want to be an operator, if you want to be an asset custodian, and of course regulation is not regulation if of course, because of the side of the world where we are, there is no monetary obligation around it. So you begin to have investors who want to come in and set up shop in Africa, in Nigeria, but there's some sort of entry requirements that requires them to purchase one license or the other. Apart from, of course, since the Sam Bankman-Fried issue, where now a lot of corporate governance disclosures are necessary. I mean, all over the world, AML mechanisms are now very, very important. Nigeria today, I mean, data privacy is now a thing. Your business could be fined, you could even go to jail, right? That's the criminal side of it. I mean, in the mix of all of this and the opportunities that exist in Nigeria and Africa, do you really think there's a future for it in Nigeria and in Africa, or where are we headed?
See, there's one of the reasons why I this year, because let me a bit about my background. After I left VGG, I was doing remittance in VGG, core remittance, like cross-border payment. I joined Curious. Curious powers USSD for most of the banks in Nigeria, and I've been there since till now. One thing I was doing from 2018 2019 was a lot of education. I have like 2 full WhatsApp groups and all those things. But this year, I decided, what, I want to go full-time into crypto. Into the industry. Because it's an industry that is here to stay. The beauty of it is that, especially Bitcoin, I emphasize on Bitcoin, because when Satoshi Nakamoto, that's the creator or the founder, he said it is permissionless, immutable, and that permissionless means that you don't need to come and create accounts. It is a platform. You don't need anybody to come and store for you. You can self-store. That's what we call non-custodial, self-custody. You self-custody your own assets. But the biggest driver for this industry, especially in Nigeria, is one, inflation. High unemployment rates, and I will explain why each one of these thing. Starting with inflation. People are looking for ways to hedge their currency, and that's why there's been a shift from even Bitcoin itself to stable coins. Because Bitcoin fluctuates, but now investors or people in the emerging markets, not only Nigeria, people in emerging markets in Pakistan, India, Nigeria, Ghana, they can now hedge their local currency against the global world reserve currency, which is the United States dollar. And they can do that through a cryptocurrency called USDT or USDC, like Circle. So that's one, inflation. 2 is economic activity. People want to participate in this global, because there are no jobs. So we have a very youthful population. 65% of our population are youth. That's why Nigeria will always be a first crypto market. We are not even this thing. We are number 2 globally. You know, I checked chain analysis reports yesterday before when I was doing my presentation.
Okay.
Nigeria is number 2 globally. Number 1 is India. Number 2 is Nigeria, and we are number 1 in P2P transactions. You know, on Binance, on KuCoin, on all these exchanges, Nigeria is number 1.
That's
globally.
amazing.
You know, so and why would people do that? Because one, we have young people who have seen, oh, there's an opportunity here, and you know, that's the opportunity is what is driving them. You have a lot of my friends who have been in the industry. They're not working for global organizations, living in Nigeria. Global crypto organizations. Some of them need community builders. Some of them need graphic designer, Twitter developers, and you find Nigerians in this space because one, you know, you can pay me. You can pay me in crypto, you can pay me in USDT, USDC, which is way higher than, you know, what I would have gotten locally. And I am edging, most importantly, I'm edging against, you know, inflation. Our currency has gone down by about 65% in 6 months. It was 700 and something last year. Today is 1,320 something. You know, that means if you are just in dollars only, you're 60% off. So with all these factors, there is no way any government will outrightly stop you. Last 2021, they've stopped, right? They banned cryptocurrency. Do you know that according to the report, Nigeria has grown year on year by 9% since the ban? Since the ban.
So it's like what happens in entertainment, you ban a song, it goes viral.
Exactly. Yeah. You know, they banned because they banned all the crypto exchanges. Guess what? After the ban, 3 exchanges raised minimum of $4 million. They kept raising money, and the government were the one losing. Because you don't have insight.
Now they want the money.
Yes, you don't have insight to what's going on in the industry. You don't know what people are doing with the data. You know, I was so mad when I saw that ban. I said, why? Like, just tell these people, bring 1 billion naira if you want license. People will pay.
People will pay.
Like, they will
raise
pay.
The money.
Like people will do anything to pay. You know, all these global organizations, they came to Nigeria more in the past 3 years. Now, Bybit is probably 4th or 5th largest exchange. Nigeria is their biggest market, and they're just less than 3 years old. You know, and all this happened after the ban. So if the government wants to keep banning,
I have to stop right there.
Yeah.
So now I want you to wear like the cap of a prophet.
Okay.
Right? I mean, I don't like your hair. It has some mystic, you know, some mystic, element to it.
Yeah.
And I want you to be like a kind of, I want you to give like a forecast. As it were. I mean, the year is just starting, right? I'm sure investors in crypto, they are, watching and they are listening.
Yeah.
I'm sure lawyers in that space are listening, or people want to begin to play in that space. People want to invest also. I mean, stakeholders are, listening and watching, or will be able to listen or watch later. So, what's the ecosystem going to look like, for the next 10, 11 months, right? I mean, in terms of Nigeria as a country and also globally. And what will you say are the opportunities? What would you say are some of the risks, involved that people should, be aware of? Just,
This again is personal opinion. It's not financial advice.
Absolutely.
So from my own perspective, I think globally, in terms of price action for the prices, I think the market capitalization of the industry will grow.
Cool.
Factors like ETF approval, that has been done, will drive the industry forward.
Great.
2, Bitcoin halving is coming in April. Bitcoin halving is that the process at which people get Bitcoin every 4 years. It's slashed by half. That was every 4 years, always before the election. And each time, a year after each halving, price of Bitcoin does a minimum of times 8. So people are saying that we might be going to the moon.
You like that? Put your money in crypto.
Again, it's not for that because no one knows tomorrow.
Yeah.
But there is, just do a search, just do your own research and just type what is the price of Bitcoin 1 year after each halving. you will see the report there. So again, the only thing I recommend for people to buy is Bitcoin, because it's the only thing that is fully decentralized, and you cannot really shut down. And there's now some sort of regulatory backing, to just give investor confidence. There are now new ways for even investors who cannot buy Bitcoin directly to buy through an ETF. That is one. I think in terms of regulation, I think the way we've seen last 2 years we saw FTX, the CEO of FTX being sanctioned. Last year we saw the CEO of Binance being sanctioned. I think we will see more sanctions this year, because now the regulators would drill in. The only thing I'm not so sure of is, because everyone copies the US. Most countries copy the US, apart from China and probably Russia. Once Trump becomes president, no one knows what will. I don't know if Trump will become president. I don't know if Trump will become president. So maybe. But I think I don't know. Let's leave that. If Trump becomes president, it might have different. Or if the US has a new president, it could change the direction of the space. Those it could change. So we never know. So on that side, locally, I think lawyers should prepare for litigation. Litigation of scam and someone stole my money, and I think we will have a lot of those cases. Because now that there's some sort of confidence, people will drop in, and because there's no education, people still don't know. People might fall into arm of scammers, etc. Also, local scammers, it's been reported that the ways they move cash now is through crypto. Like this, the FBI came last year. I saw on Instagram that they came to carry some Yahoo boys, and that they traced them through Bitcoin, USDT, etc. That's what they used. In fact, some exchanges get queried by FBI that somebody sold Bitcoin on your platform. Can you please send the KYC to us and all those things? So I think there will be a lot of litigation. Litigation is ahead. That will be. I also think there will be opportunities for lawyers in terms of advisory, because now people want to go into the space with more confidence. People want to innovate, and people want to. I wrote them down that there will be a lot of IP protection. And that people will need, I have this new ideas of something we can build on the blockchain. Can I patent it? There will be such opportunities. In terms of how I see this space, I don't see any rapid growth in terms of number of users. I think we are at that space where a lot of early adopters have gotten in. We are getting a bit more. The new people that are supposed to drive it, I don't think we'll see them in the next 10 to 12 months, because most people lost money in the last bull run. So they'll be like still be careful. But from next year, where there will be more regulatory clarity from each regions, then people would have more confidence to go. Maybe next year, in 2-3 years, Nigeria can have its own ETF approval. So where local we can invest naira, our pension and stuff can be used to. But that's what BlackRock is doing with ETF, the ETF approval. So pensioners and they can now tell BlackRock to say, okay, allocate 10%, 2% of my pension, into these things. I
think that's safe, because in Nigeria, by the time you're assessing you'll be able to assess your pension, you're already almost like useless to yourself. Right?
Bitcoin is the highest performing digital asset in the world since its inception. Every single year it does, like if you average it out from January 1 to, it does a minimum of 55% every single year. It's up. There's a stat you know, like probably you can share, you can you can post it on social media every single year. So it's the highest, does better than S&P 500, does better than real estate, is the highest performing asset in the world since it started. So people would, you know, want to have a bit of their investment, just if not everything, like 5%, 2% into
just to diversify their portfolio of investments.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Toyosi. I mean, I'm sure, you know, our listeners and viewers, they've had a great time, and yes, we welcome questions. We welcome questions. You could send us, you know, messages, send us emails, and I'm sure we'll probably bring Toyosi one more time. You know, maybe they have part of the year or sometimes. So thank you very much, and everyone. It's a goodbye from us.